Hey girl, it is a brand new month and I cannot believe we are already in December. Like, how did this year just fly by? I do not even know, but what I do know is that I wanted to talk about identity today, specifically being rooted in the right identity. Why? Well, because as I was sitting around thinking about what I needed to kind of pour into you as we get closer and closer to a brand new year, I was thinking about what I've learned over the years. And I wanted to simplify that and just give it to you as a gift of, gosh, like, how do I change these patterns and behaviors in my life that are no longer serving me? Because, sis, I don't want you bringing this into another year doing the same thing. Here is what I wanted you to hear today. If you want freedom from your eating disorder, you can't keep identifying as the eating disorder. Let that sink in. And let's dive into today's episode of the show. I have a feeling that you're really going to like this one. Here we go. Hey girl, welcome to the Her Best Self podcast. I'm Lindsey Nichol, former competitive figure skater and perfectionist, turned God-led imperfect boy mom and digital CEO. If you find yourself constantly thinking about food and wondering if you'll wake up one day free from the obsessive thoughts and behaviors controlling your life, then I've created this podcast for you. Because I know exactly what it's like to be a downright hot mess, trapped in a destructive cycle of disordered eating. I finally found freedom, and you can too, girlfriend. So if you're ready to heal your relationship with food and body and break the chains of control and show up in your best health, then grab your favorite Tarjay journal and let's get to it. So you can start living your best life as your best self. I read something over the weekend that stopped me in my tracks, and I knew that I needed to share it with all of you today. It was an article written by Arianna Huffington, the CEO of Thrive Global. She said, no label, no matter how authoritative, one given to you either by a doctor or a boss, no title, no dollar sign, can ever contain the full constellation of who you might become. Did you catch that, friend? No label can contain who you might become. And here's the hard truth. If you are defined by your labels, and girlfriend, me included here, you're also confined by your labels. Let me explain what I mean. For so long, I was defined by my labels. The number on my clothing tag I was obsessed with. The diagnosis. First, it was others specified. If you've ever received a diagnosis, you know that, I don't know, there's something that kind of just happens when you get that diagnosis. For me, that meant I just wasn't sick enough, if I'm being fully transparent. Like, I wasn't valid. I had some other oh, well, I have another diagnosis, which back in the day was a little bit different. Then anorexia, which is when I was like, oh, okay, I'm finally sick enough. I've earned some terrible badge of honor. Okay. And that's not to trigger anyone here, but then I put on this label of the sick one, the girl who doesn't eat anything, the girl who passes up opportunities, the girl who is a perfectionist, the athlete, the fit one, the one in recovery, and later the recovered one. And this is so important to unpack, and we don't have time to do it all in this quick episode today, but here's what I realized. I was so busy being everyone's label that I had no idea who I actually was underneath all of it. The eating disorder voice in my mind loved the labels. In fact, it loved defining me by what I had as an eating disorder, no matter the diagnosis, and what I did, whether that was restrict or count or control, but it never, ever told me who I was. Because if I knew who I was, if I was rooted in my true identity, then the eating disorder would lose its power and its grip. And so that is what I want to share with you today. If you've been defining yourself as a label, or maybe not even sick enough label is a label in itself, right? And I share diagnoses with you. I'm not clinical. I'm not on here to preach about your diagnosis, okay? Or to say that you have to have one. If you have an unhealthy relationship with food in your body, in my personal opinion, you don't need a diagnosis. You don't need a label for it to be worth getting free from it. You don't need a label for it to be worth dissecting and diving in and healing from it. There was a season when I was completely defined completely defined by all these things. And I would stand in dressing rooms and I would look at that stupid clothing tag and it would determine my entire mood, my entire worth, my entire identity for the day and for the week after. I wasn't Lindsey. I wasn't a daughter, a friend, a person with dreams and hopes and purpose. I was a size. I was a number. I was, oh, you can't have that, or, oh, you have to do this instead. And then there was the diagnosis labels that I just talked about. When I was first labeled other specified feeding or eating disorder, I actually felt it. I felt rejected. Like I just wasn't enough, even for the real freaking eating disorder label. Like somehow I was even failing at being disordered in the first place. And that in itself is so disordered, but this is where it all comes from. When the diagnosis changed, there was this twisted sense of validation, like now I was official. What I want you to understand is you don't have to earn a thing. I'm not on the show earning my expertise here with you. Like I actually have nothing to prove by pouring into this podcast outside of I truly believe if you follow the principles that I teach and I discuss, and I truly believe if you pour your whole heart into healing, that I can help support that path alongside you. I believe in it because I've seen it happen. But here's the shift that changed. I realized the energy it took to remain somebody else's label, whether that was the sick one, whether that was the perfect one, the small one, the fit friend, it was debilitating. Like it was exhausting, the constant energy that it required of me. It was unaligned with who I was actually underneath all of it, which was that little girl in school that was an average student and was cool, just like eating the cinnamon bun and dunking my Oreos in milk and having pizza night with my family and just pouring into other people was what I loved doing when I was little. And when I finally let go of the labels that I had put on over time and just started being that person, not what they called me, not what the scale said about me, not what the diagnosis claimed, everything changed because I wasn't designed to be a label, and friend, neither are you. You're designed to be you. You weren't designed to be anorexic or bulimic or the girl with the eating disorder that is not specified. You were designed to be a daughter of the Most High. Royalty. Do you hear me? Royalty. An heir to the kingdom. An heir to the kingdom. So I want to talk about labels that might be trapping you right where you are right now. Maybe you identify as that label somebody has put on you, like the girl with the eating disorder. Maybe you're the fit friend, the vegan, the one who's always on a diet, the one who won't touch carbohydrates. Maybe your label is a perfectionist or a people pleaser or the one who can't say no to everyone else. Or maybe, and this is a big one, your label is recovered or recovering. And now you're so afraid of losing that label that you actually can't live in the day-to-day because you're constantly performing instead of experiencing. Here is what research shows us. People who tie their identity to outcomes, like I'm someone who lost a bunch of weight, they are significantly more likely to fail than people who tie their identity to who they are at their core. Studies on behavior change show that identity-based habits are far more powerful than outcome-based ones. It's the difference between I want to be free from my eating disorder and I am a woman that is created for more than this. One is about what you do, friend, and the other is about who you are. And girl, if you keep identifying as the girl with the eating disorder, you're going to keep living like the girl with the eating disorder because we actually live out our identity that we put on ourselves. And this is for you. You are not your diagnosis, your eating disorder. You're not your undiagnosis. Like you are not any of it. You're not your size. You're not the scale number. You are not your step count. You are not your calorie count. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You're a saint. You're an heir. You are a daughter of the Most High. You are royalty. I don't care if you have to keep saying that to yourself. This is not motivational talk. This is truth. This is your real identity. So if labels aren't who you are, then who are you? Let me tell you what I believe is true, because this is where I found myself needing to be rooted. I would always go back to my source, okay? You can call it God for you. Maybe it is energy, like whatever it is for you. But for me, it is God. And and I would look at what my creator said about me, because there were days that I didn't believe it. The Bible says you are fearfully and wonderfully made. It says you were created with intention, with purpose, with beauty. I don't care if you don't believe in it, but this is what it says. It's not going to change what it says, right? It's not a number on the tag that it says you have to be. It's not the diagnosis in the chart. It's not what your doctor says to be true. You are exactly as you are, wonderfully made. It also says you're chosen. You are chosen. You are royal. You are a holy nation, chosen, not by your performance, not whether or not you get first or the A++, because of who you are and whose you are. You are chosen. You are loved beyond measure. Romans 8:38 says that nothing, not death, not life, not demons, not angels, not the present, not the future, not any powers, not height, not depth, not anything in all of the universe can separate you from love. Not your eating disorder, not your weight, not your physical body, nothing. It also says you're a new creation. You are a new creation. The old has gone, the new is here, which means, sis, you don't have to be defined by your past. You don't have to carry these old labels of history into a new year, even though I know sometimes like shedding the labels can be super scary. What I really want to point out is what Galatians 4:7 says. You are an heir. You are a child, and God has made you an heir. An heir, like royalty. Let that sink in. This is your true identity, not the eating disorder, not what somebody else says over you, not what people call you, not what the scale says. You are an heir. And when you're rooted in that, you show up differently. When that becomes your foundation, everything changes. If I'm royalty, how am I honoring myself? Am I starving myself? Am I withholding? Am I punishing? Probably not. Most people, they set New Year's resolutions based on what they want to have or what they want to do. I want to lose weight. I want to eat better. I want to recover. But those resolutions fail 80% of the time by February because they're rooted in outcomes, not in identity. So if you want this year to be different, which we're not even in January yet, I'm trying to get ahead of this for you. You can't just change your behavior and expect for a different outcome. You have to change who you believe you are. You can't keep identifying as having an eating disorder as if it is like a badge of honor and expect to be free from it or expect to recover from it. You can't keep calling yourself, oh, I just don't have this, or oh, I'm not allowed that, or oh, I'm anorexic or bulimic or whatever it is, as if that's not your name, and expect an experience that isn't associated with that behavior. Because when you speak it over yourself, you are literally hammering it in to your mind. You can't keep rooting your identity in labels, even in being recovered, and expect to truly live fully in recovery, because sometimes that label comes with pressure. And so instead of creating a life around the label, I want you to identify who you are. When you change your identity, your behavior then follows. It's not the other way around. We get it twisted. We think like we have to change our behavior and habituation, and then we're going to catch up. When you believe you are a daughter of the King, you start living like one. When you believe that your body is worth nourishing, you start nourishing it. When you believe that you're chosen and loved, you start making choices that honor that truth. You don't have to white knuckle your way through recovery. You just have to get rooted in the right identity. And identity gets a bad rap. It's like nobody wants to talk about it. What does that mean? What is my identity? I can be multiple different things. What if I don't know what it is? Here's what I want you to do. I want you to write down the false labels you've been carrying. What have you been calling yourself? Is that your eating disorder? Is that the girl who can't eat normally, the sick one, the not good enough one, too much, not enough? Write it down, all of it. Get it out of your head and onto paper. The second part of this is I literally want you to draw a line through each one of those things, because this is not your identity. These are lies. These are labels that cannot contain who you might become. And then the third step, who does God say you are? If God is not something that you believe in, like, what is your source? What is that higher power? I want you to write down these truths. Write this down. This might look like I'm deeply loved. I am an heir. I'm royalty. I'm a saint. I am not my eating disorder. I am created for more. Not in your head, out loud. Read these truths out loud. Let your ears hear. Let your voice speak. Ask other people around you if you need insights. I always go to what is in the Bible, but if that is not your thing, ask the people in your life. Who do you think I am, right? I don't want you to put a label over me. I'm a people pleaser, but some of the good qualities that you think are me, what are those qualities? And I want you to get loud and out loud to let your voice speak truth over these lies. Because this is your identity, not from the labels of everyone else and everything else, not from medical professionals. I want you to live from who you are at your core. And as we head into a new year, I want you to know you do not have to do this by yourself. If you're tired of being defined, and if you want 2026 to be the year that you are finally rooted in the right things, here's your invitation. Either join the Recovery Collective or work with me one-on-one in personalized support. I literally believe with all of my being, you cannot go wrong in any of these options. And if it is not me, I still love you to death. Find a coach, find an expert, find a therapist that is going to help you navigate your true identity. I want you to remember, no label, no title, no dollar sign is ever going to come close to who you are. So if your label, what you speak over yourself, is that you are powerful and you are more than enough and that you are a conqueror and that you are a warrior and that you are royalty, how are you going to live? Like, how would you show up differently if when your feet hit the floor tomorrow morning, you woke up as royalty? How would you live? What would you do differently? I want to end with that question in mind because you are royalty. So why aren't you believing that you have the power to conquer? Yes, we have to make some behavior modifications. But when you can start showing up as your very best self and you can start changing the person you are and the person that you're becoming, your behavior follows. I believe in you, friend, and I believe that you are more than enough. If this episode has given you something to think about, would you please share it with a friend? And if you haven't done so already, I would be honored for your rating and review on Apple Podcasts, because this is how we get seen when more women go to search for Eating Disorder Podcast. So if you've been a regular listener of the show for some time, if you could do us a solid and rate and review the show, I would thank you over and over again. Where is your identity rooted? That's the question, friend. Who might you become if you start showing up as the best version of you? I love you. Go do some reflecting. Bye for now. Oh, friend, thank you so much for letting me share what was on my heart today. My hope for this podcast is to help more women find freedom from food and body. If this has empowered or blessed you, let me know. I'd be honored for your rating and review of my show, and I'd love to connect with you in my private Facebook community. You really can move from perfection to purpose. Let's break the chains together. I'll help navigate the way. Until next time, bye for now, girl.